What's going on, guys? Chuck here with another awesome Blu-ray purchase today. I'm talking about a new release that just came out from Vinegar Syndrome's, I believe it was their subscriber sale they recently just had. And this was, I don't know if it's a big one, but it's probably their big premiere title of that sale. Release. It was a 4K release of the monster movie Reptilicus. Um, Now, admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about Reptilicus. I've heard of it. I'm familiar with the imagery of the Reptilicus itself, as I'm sure, which as learning in the special features, a lot of people probably are. But as far as the film, not too much is known about it from my end. So it was fascinating to learn this is actually a film from Denmark, which is like I guess Denmark's big monster movie. The only one they would make up until the late 1990s, I believe it was. Then I found out too. This is actually there are two versions of Reptilicus. There is the Denmark version, which was released in 1961, and then there is the American version. And it's not like the same film just redubbed. It's actually much like 1931's Dracula and the Spanish version of Dracula. It's the same film reshot, apparently, minus one actress who was in the Danish, I believe that's make sure I have my country's correct version, but she couldn't speak English very well, so her role was recast for the American version, and it was released in 1962 by American International. So I found that fascinating to know that was the case. So here you have Reptilicus, and this is a nice 4K set. This is very similar to what they did with Gorgo about I think a year ago. So you can put them side by side, I guess, or as a collection of monster movies. Quality not the same though. And what I mean by that is I think Gorgo is the much better film than Reptilicus. Reptilicus is bad. It's shot well, kinda. It's in color, but it's more silly, I think. And not I don't know if it was intended to be, but there's a lot of, and it could be from the Danish actors doing English. I don't know the case, but the one main actor is just way over the top with his delivery. The general, just something, you have a comic player in there as a bit part, and some things just come off kind of silly. And the monster in here, Reptilicus himself, which this image oversells Reptilicus, because essentially it's a marionette. It's just and it looks like a marionette. It actually, because what you mostly get in the film, and all I've seen was the American version. I didn't pop in the other version, but all you really get is just this head bobbing around. It's really just it's a marionette. It's bobbing around. If you've ever seen like the dragons like floats or whatever, like in a Chinese parade or something like that, you see those floating dragons. That's a lot what it reminds me of. I mean, the design is cool from what you see, which is really just the neck and head, honestly. This promises so much more, and you will not get it. But it just bobs around, and that's it. So it's nothing like I said Gorgo, which you get so much more of that monster, and it's so much better. And from what I understand, the Danish version actually shows a little bit more, and then they ruled that was just too silly, too much. You couldn't really do this, so they kind of edited it down and changed it, changed some of the special effects when they did the American version, which is interesting. But anyway, so the basic of it is you have as a Danish drill team looking for copper, and they come across this weird. I don't know. They drill into something that's fleshy and bone, like it's a leftover remnant of what appears to be some kind of reptile fossil. It's buried as they have it frozen, and somehow through one mission or another, which usually happens in these kind of films, the frozen artifact ends up being thawed out, put this down, it's heavy. It's thawed out. And they figure, okay, well, this is it. We've lost this was a tremendous find. We've lost all the research. The skin's not going to be the same. It's already going to start decomposing. Come to find out that this body part, it's like a tail, or part of a tail, is starting to regenerate. And they basically decide, well, let's do all we can to make it grow faster. Is this a good idea? Probably not. But they compare it much to like other reptiles, that are known to regenerate body parts, and this is what slowly happening. This regenerating into what they end up calling Reptilicus. That's the name they actually gave it. He terrorizes Denmark, and you get a lot of chasing scenes, a lot of people running and screaming. That's a good portion of what this movie is. A lot of running and screaming and angry generals. I mean, it's an interesting premise. You got this monster that regenerates. It's kind of hard to kill. You can't blow it up because these pieces will just regenerate. So you got to find a way to stop it. So that's cool. A cool premise. Executions, it's all right. But it makes good driving. It's a decent for American International. I'll tell you that. But so Vinegar Syndrome released this in a nice 4K. Really nice set. This is very similar to the Gorgo set. Let's take a look at this. Here is this great artwork. Your spine. This back. By the way, you will never see Reptilicus fly. You don't even realize it has wings. They're very, very, again, all you see is the head bobbing around. And in some cases, the 4K, you see the strings pulling the head around. But that's all you're going to get. Inside, you have basically the tail underground, and this is the drill bit that dug into when they found it. Other side is more of that when it kind of what they've dug out as it's laid out. That's a specimen they have. Here is the case with this really good artwork. I do like that. It is reversible, and the reverse artwork is similar to the artwork on the slip box. Inside, we do have a little fold-out poster, again, much like Gorgo, which this is really cool, because remember, Gorgo had like a nice breakdown, I believe, of the creature itself, and this does something very similar. I read Reptilicus. But here's what you got. And you see it's kind of dissecting or explaining the creature. It's a nice little cutout. It's pretty cool. So, inside, you've got, it's a 3-disc set, which is 1 4K and 2 Blu-rays. And here's Blu-ray 1, Blu-ray 2, and your 4K. The 4K is the film, and with the only special feature on there is an audio commentary, which, let's go over this real quick. Okay. So, special features on here. The 4K UHD disc contains the 82-minute feature presentation of Reptilicus, presented in HDR and newly restored from a 35mm original camera negative, with the following sound options. Again, basically it's English and then the audio commentary, with historian Nicholas Barbano and novelist and critic Kim Newman, which is really cool. He's a very informative guy. I always love listening to Kim Newman. Let's see. And then the Blu-ray discs, disc 1 is the film again, but it contains the special features, which has, 50 million years out of time, revisiting Reptilicus at 32 minutes, which a new retrospective featuring film historian and producer Robert Parigi and screenwriter, film historian C. Courtney Joyner. That is a very good making of, basically. It's breaking down not only the making of Reptilicus, but also kind of like the history of a lot of these films, how some of these producers, like American International, would grab these foreign films and show them, grab the rights to them and show them in America, and, how they were shown through the drive. And it's a very good history lesson for about 32 minutes. It's very informative, very entertaining, actually, also. Let's see, also, Pink Goes West, Life After Reptilicus. It's a only 11-minute interview with filmmaker, historian Jay Jennings, basically talking about the director, Sid Pink, who was director of the American version. And it's kind of his career after Reptilicus, where he was doing some of what they call Euro Western or spaghetti Westerns. So that's pretty interesting. And then last, you have Invincible Indestructible, which is 29 minutes, with illustrator, author, and film historian Stephen R. Bissett on Reptilicus and its enduring legacy, which is another very interesting segment. Basically, just going over a lot more of the release of the film. It's kind of its cultural legacy. They did something very similar with Gorgo also, but basically how the film was presented, and it was advertised, and also showing or talking about how it's even after its release, how it's still wasn't put in. You can see it in film like Beverly Hillbillies. It was in the Monkeys playing time. South Park. Just clips of the film being shown, so it stayed in the cultural zeitgeist, if you will. People knew of Reptilicus without knowing Reptilicus, possibly. Like I said, at the beginning of this, I was familiar with Reptilicus, and but never knowing the movie. So this is I probably saw the images somewhere over all the years of all the places it's been. So that's pretty cool. And then this 3, which is a Blu-ray. This contains the alternate 95-minute Danish language version of Reptilicus with new subtitles. So that's pretty cool. You do get both versions of the film. That's a very nice addition. So it's a nice stacked deck for this, or stacked deck. It's a nice stacked release for Reptilicus from Vinegar Syndrome once again. And a great packaging. It's really cool. Like I said, I love Vinegar Syndrome. And I really like that they take these films that you wouldn't think too much about and give them these nice glossy treatments, and again, this is really cool. It's matches it really well with Gorgo. I'm curious what to see, or to see what they would do next if they find another monster movie and give it this kind of treatment. This is really cool, and to learn about the history of Reptilicus is really neat because, like I said, I virtually, or actually literally knew nothing about Reptilicus until I just watched this and watched special features on here. So it's kind of cool. Like I said, it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's nothing earth-shattering or great. Checking out anything else for Reptilicus itself to see how, again, what you're promised and what you get are two different things. But hey, it was the Danish Godzilla, more or less. That's basically what it was, the Danish Godzilla. And it didn't fare very well. But great release here from Vinegar Syndrome. I recommend checking it out if you're into B monster movies. This is a fun one to check out. All right, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed it, click thumbs up, share, subscribe, leave me a comment below. Let me know if you've picked up Reptilicus from the Vinegar Syndrome sale. If you've seen Reptilicus, I believe this was also released some years back from the Scream Factory. I kind of double feature, but I'm not sure what the film was. So I don't know what it had, if it had any special features. I believe all the special features on here were newly created for this release. They were all copyrighted 2024. So these are all new special features. Or just say hi. I'll always take hi. So until next time, this is Chuck saying I will see you on the other side.